All right, good. So I'm gonna record it, so I'll email it to everybody. You'll have the PowerPoint slide, and we'll go from there. So we have some old heads here, right? We have some vets and we have some rookies, right? So we have, in terms of receiving funding from us, I see Anthony is here. And so congratulations, everybody who's on this call is being moved on to the pitch portion for the seed project. And unlike in the past where I never really had enough time to put this together, I really wanted to take a few minutes to just go over the importance of the pitch for this grant anyway. And also, what we're going to do is we're going to email everybody their applications in PDF and in Word. So you'll have the application because you can't get to it now. It's in a different place in Sage, and so I downloaded all the applications, and then Roberto, which is our intern, he's probably trying to log on now. We'll email it to everybody by tomorrow, the latest, the PDF and the Word document. Okay. The next week's is the pitch. I think it's at 10 o'clock or somewhere in there. I will email everybody by tomorrow the order of the pitch. The pitch is 10 minutes. One of the reasons why I wanted to put this together so that everybody knows that it's 10 minutes, because we in the past, folks that do pitches, they get halfway through, they get halfway through and 10 minutes are up, and then they don't get to the real meat of the pitch, which is the budget and the impact and things of that nature, and then they do horrible on the pitch. And so, I've worked really hard to get new organizations involved in seed. And so we have a crop of new folks coming on board, and I want them to really get a sense of how to do a pitch, right? So let me just share this quickly with everybody. All right. I think this is it. Yeah. So you have a regular business pitch, which is, focusing the business idea from one party to another, but the social enterprise is different. The pitch that you're going to do is vastly different from a commercial enterprise pitch, because you're going to talk about the model of your enterprise, but also about, how are you going to address the current social issue using the power of social enterprise and using this grant. Make sure that you read your application as the peer reviewers' questions will be based solely on what was submitted, and there's inevitably gaps in your application that you're going to have to fill to better prepare for the pitch. So we're going to go through those really quickly. I think you want to focus on the problem that is being addressed, the solution for the problem, the economics of the solution, and the impact of the solution on the targeted population. I think if you focus on those main points, you should be fine, and it should fill in the gaps of what they're missing as peer reviewers. I don't know what they're missing, so that's why we're going to email you the applications so you can look at what you did and maybe see if there's some inconsistencies in the application or if there's some gaps of information that need to be filled in. I think you want to identify on, I think your first slide needs to be, this is who we are, this is the organization, and this is what we're asking. And then you go into the problem. What exactly is the social issue that you're addressing? How are you trying to solve it through this venture? And how is this venture your solution? And then give a quick roadmap of how the venture will be implemented to generate revenue that will then allow you to provide services in addressing this particular social issue. And then why do you need the financial support from OFBI? Like, what exactly do you need this capital for? Do you really need it? Or are you just going after it because it's an opportunity to go there? So as your goal is to make the investors interested, that they'll be excited to help you solve the presented problem. So you want to bring some life and some energy into your presentation. Don't go over the top with it, but what is that? You want to be charismatic, and engaging. That's what you want to be. And you can do it. You can do it in the virtual world. You just have to, practice. And here's the deal. You want to practice. You also want to have a sentence or something that says that that the problem is significant, urgent, and relevant. That it needs to be addressed in your local geographic location. And why is it important that your organization address this? You may want to have some images to align with some of the numerical data, and don't get too in depth with the technical jargon and what does they call acronyms, right? If you're going to say an acronym, say it and then give what that acronym means. Like if you're going to say Project Atlas, you want to say, and Project Atlas stands for Applied Training Lasting Solutions, and then keep it moving. An example of this problem statement may be, there is enter the problem issue going on in this area, and this problem is affecting X population through Y and Z. It's real simple. Now, in your applications, you should be able to pull that information out of here. You want the peer reviewers, or the peer reviewers to see how passionate you are about solving the problem, and why is your solution the one that the investors should care about? Like, why should they say at the end of your pitch, yeah, OFBI should fund them, right? You also want to talk about what are alternative solutions, and who are the beneficiaries, and how will you serve them? Like, are there other opportunities or alternative solutions to this approach, or is this the only way that it can be addressed? Right? What information did you use to determine that your solution is innovative and creative? Right? So creativity means it's an original idea. You came up with an original idea. Innovation is how you implement that creative idea. So what information was it that drove you to come up with this creative approach that moved you to implement it in this new and different way that no one has ever done in your local geographic location? So an example is, my solution is the optimal one because it's scalable in the long term, is backed up by research and validation. There's a prototype verifying the advertised solution, and it's cost effective by whatever percentage you need to put there relative to the most effective solution in the market, right? Since this is a social enterprise, there aren't a lot of competition in your particular space. So it should be easy for you to take this statement and shape it to fit what it is that you need to do. Now, what's the finances of the solution, right? You want to briefly talk about what is the model of the social venture, and is it you may not know if it's sustainable, especially those that are just doing the seed startup, but you can theorize that it has the potential to be sustainable because of X, Y, and Z. And I don't know what X, Y, and Z, because I am not going to read those applications. That's your job to try to figure that out. For those that are in growth stage, right, sustainability needs to mean other than OFBI funding, right? Like there's a number of you in here that we funded over the years consistently, and so you've got to figure out, why is it that you're applying for seed, and is your sustainability based on the seed funding? And if not, then where do you think you can get your sustainable funding from? I think you've got to go there, because I'm trying not to make this what is that word? An entitlement program for organizations, because we're the only ones in the state that fund this. We want you to move on and try to get other funding opportunities. If it's not sustainable, why do you need to be sustainable in the future? Right? So for those that are in the startup stage, this is a question that this is an introspective question to you. You know, why do you need to be sustainable in the future? And sustainability does not mean OFBI. I mean, we're not going to not fund you because you receive grants in the past from us, but you know, the hope is that you get to a place when you get to growth that there are other potential investors outside of OFBI that will be willing to invest in your approach moving forward. And I think for the growth folks, you wanna mention that, right? You only got 10 minutes, so you only want to mention that. What other sources of funding does your organization have that may support this venture? And sources of funding can also be in kind, because you can put a dollar amount to in kind sources and say, you know, we're supporting this approach this way by other funding sources, right? Demonstrate that your social venture is viable, sustainable, and that there's a long-term plan. Sure, it should be success. And reassure the panel that your financial contributions will be well spent. Now, if I were you, I would look at the budget that you did in your application, and I would look at the logic model, because I know they're looking at your logic model, and I would look at the business canvas model, which you all should have, and I would need to make sure that that's aligned with the budget and with the narrative of the program design, the target population, and the goals and objectives. Because if I know that panel, they're going to say, well, why wasn't the logic model and the business canvas model in alignment with the budget and with the program design? And why wasn't the revenue analysis in line with anything that they said in their application? So you need to look at that and make sure that all of that makes sense. All right. Now, we want to help you make a difference in any way that we can, right? So how can you measure the impact of the solution? Like, how are you going to measure the impact that you've had? And I know, listen, it's for the startups, it's what, $15,000, $10,000 to $15,000. So remember, it's not like you're going to be buying a building and starting manufacturing processes, right? This is, you know, how are you going to prototype and test the venture to make sure that it resonates with the targeted community, right? With the market that will pay fair market price for the product or the service. For the growth folks, right? How are you going to measure the impact that you've had based on the market that you're marketing your product or service to? And how are you better able to then provide impact on moving folks from being adversely affected by the social issue that you're supposed to be addressing? Right? Then you have, you know, everybody has the logic model: inputs, activities, outputs, outcomes, and impact. And then you have the business canvas model. So the business canvas model is really the logic model for social enterprises. So look at what you submitted, right? And the business canvas model, let me show this real quick. The business canvas model reads like this. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, I thought I had it. Oh, here it is. So the business canvas model looks like this, right? And there's 9 sections in here, right? And under each section, it explains the information that should be in here. So just go back to your application, because you all submitted this, and, you know, read it and understand it. And you may want to refer back to the business canvas model as you're doing your pitch. All right, let me see where we're at. I can't do this. Let me see. We're almost done. All right. Now, you wanna indicate briefly how the funding will affect the population that you're targeting. Now, for seed, you have 2 populations, right? You have the paying market, the capital market, and then you have the social market. And so you're gonna have to, for the startups, you're gonna have to indicate, you know, how are you going to prototype and test this approach to a market that will pay fair market price for the product or service. And if you generate enough revenue, how is that going to help you impact the lives of those individuals that are socially and economically disenfranchised and affected by a particular social issue, right? And so an example might be, if pitch was about how the problem affected this person family, then finish things off by explaining how exactly this donation or this investment will help that person or family, right? So you've got to, it's not only about the capital you're getting, but how is that money going to help those individuals that are struggling with a particular social issue? Because and you want to read your application and make sure that that's in there. And if it's not in there, you need to make it clear on the pitch the social issue that you're addressing. And it can't be poverty, because poverty is an umbrella for 100,000 million different social issues. And there's just no way you're gonna address poverty. So there's got to be one thing that you're focusing on, right? What do you and your team bring to the table, right? This is, the skill sets of your organization, the folks that are going to be working on this enterprise moving forward, and what expertise do they bring to the table? And then the panel is going to have questions and answers, right? And I don't know those questions, like I said earlier, but if you read your application, you're going to see, I guarantee you're going to see gaps in information, and you need to fill those gaps. And then finally, practice your pitch. Practice in front of your husbands, your boyfriends, your girlfriends, your wives, whoever you're sick, your dog, your bird, your fish, whoever's willing to listen to you. Practice in front of a mirror, because you only have 10 minutes. All right. So that's the pitch. That's the entire thing. Any questions? We're good? Everybody, we're good? Yeah? All right. So I'm going to download the recording and email it to everybody. And if you have any questions, you got my cell phone and my email. I'll be more than happy to answer whatever questions you have, especially for the rookies that are now for the first time pitching, and you have the business canvas model and you may not really understand what that's all about. I don't mind doing a one-on-one with you to get you up to speed. All right, everybody? All right. Take care. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Take care, everyone.